Hello, Sumit, you're welcome. So, I'll be teaching you how to make this beautiful reversible head bonnet. If this is what you love to learn, let's get right into the video. So, first off, I'm using this beautiful satin fabric. I'm going to use two different fabrics for this, okay? So, I'm going to measure 14 inches. I'm using 28 inches for the width and then for the breadth. So, 28 inches, and I folded that into two. That means I folded 14 inches on like that. So that means I have 14 inches on fold. Then I'm just going to spread it like this and then measure the length. So the length for this is 14 inches. Actually, that's 28. But I'm going to fold it into two. So I'll measure 14 inches. Then I'll fold it into two just like this. And that is it. So I just want to arrange my fabric so that I can cut that out. So I have my fabric properly placed. So the next thing is I'm going to be cutting out a circle. Okay, so I'll cut out a circle. Just make sure that your fabric is well positioned and is well laid out. So I'm going to measure 14 inches. Or actually, you can make this between 10 to 15 inches depending on you. I think for children, if you want to make for children, you can do 10 inches. If you want to make for adults, you can do between 12 to 15 inches. Okay, 15 inches is going to give you a very big, like a jumbo size. So that means you can do 30 for length, 30 for the breadth. Then if it's 14, that means it's going to be 28 for the length and breadth. You can just walk yourself around those measurements. But I'm using 14 here, so I'm going to measure 14 all round just to cut out the circle. And that is that. So the next thing to do is to cut this out. Cut this out. All right. So you can actually use different fabrics for this. You can use Ankara fabric. You can use silk. But you know that silk is very nice for the hair. It keeps the hair moisture locked in place. So just make sure that whatever fabric you want to combine, have a silk, okay? Combine it with a silk. So I've done that now. The next thing is to cut the other fabric. So this fabric is just a very nice animal print fabric. So I'm going to fold that. I'll fold that into four. Then I will lay the first pattern I cut out. I'll lay it on top of that and then cut out the circle. So I'm just going to cut, and that is it. So I really don't know. Just know that you're beautiful the way you are. You're perfect the way you are. And just keep smiling. Be yourself. Work hard. And the sky is just your starting point. Okay? Good. So I haven't cut out the two pieces. The next thing to do is to join both pieces together in a circular manner. So you can see the two fabrics now. So I'm going to turn them on the other side just like this. Then I'll run a stitch all around. So I'm just trying to arrange it. So I'm going to run a stitch like half an inch all around just to form a circle. But I'm going to leave a space about 1 inch. I'll leave a space about 1 inch so that I can turn it out to the other side. So that's what I've done now. I've actually run the stitch all around, and here is a space about 1 inch. You can just leave a space of whatever you want to leave, just something enough for you to turn out the fabric to the other side. So that is what I'm doing right away. This is a very easy project you can do under 20 minutes. You can do this under 20 minutes. You can do a lot of it and then sell them. Depending, put your markup and then you sell and then you have your profit. So I've turned it out now. Then the next thing to do is to give it is to close that place up, that space. I'm going to close it. Um I'll just run a stitch on top of it, then I will iron it out. So I've done that now. I've ironed it out. I've ironed that out. You can see how beautiful this looks like. So I'm going to run a stitch on that part so as to close it up. Okay, but before I do that, no, I'm not going to close it up here, sorry. Before I do that, before I close that place up, so I'm going to mark 1.5 inches. You can do up to 2 inches or 3 inches depending on how elaborate you want the pleats to be. It's going to form a pleat after you insert the elastic. So I'm going to run a stitch all round like that. So I'm using 1.5 inches in this case. You can do, like I said, you can do 2 inches and all depending on you. So I've done that right away, and this is it. Remember, I didn't close the initial space I have over there. I didn't close it up. So the next thing to do is just to divide what I have left. I think I have 1.5 inches. I'll just divide that into two. That should be around 0.75 inches. Okay, so on that 0.75 inches, I'm going to mark 0.75 inches all round again. Okay, I will run another stitch on 0.75 inches all round again, but at this time I will not close it up at that point. You can see how I'm marking that place. I won't close it up at all. Okay, so I'll have that space so that I will have a space to insert the elastic. I'm not going to close that point, so I will just run it from that chalk mark and then to the other side. You can see that the other space, I didn't run any stitch on it. So the length of the elastic I'm using is 19 inches. Actually, you can use between 17 to 19 inches, okay, depending on you. But in this case, I used 19 inches. So I'm just going to fix my office pin. Is it office pin or safety pin? Office pin or safety pin. So I've done that. Then I'll just use it to insert the elastic into the head bonnet. You can see I'm inserting it to the other hole there, to the other line. You can see I'm inserting it to the other line, and then I'll just try and drag it all through the line and bring it out, and before you know it, you have our hair bonnet is ready. So like I said, practice makes perfect. Okay, always practice what you watch, practice what you learn. Okay, as this makes you an expert in whatever you are learning. So I'm just doing this right away. Like I said, you can do this under 20 minutes. In fact, by the time you become an expert, you can make as many as 4 or 5 under an hour. And like I said, you can use this to start a side hustle for yourself. Okay, hair bonnet is a staple. It's a staple accessory. Let me put it like that, or a clothing in a woman's. In fact, men are now using it now. Some men who care so much for their hair. So I've done that now. So I will just run a stitch to secure both ends of the elastic, and this is it. This is what I have. Can you see? You can see how easy. So I'll just drag it in just to have the elastic all in the fabric, and that is it. So I'm just trying to drag it out, and so you can see how it is. So you can decide to wear it either way. So the next thing to do now is to close that end. So I'll just run a stitch across that, and I also run a stitch across that other line too. Okay, so and that is that. So I've done that now, and that is all for this reversible hair bonnet. Like I said, you can decide to play around the type of fabric that you use. So you can use Ankara fabric, silk, Duchess. Okay, you can use any kind of fabric you want, and that is all. So please like, share this video, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. And once you practice, okay, let me know in the comments section.